back to My Kitten Reads. I'm Eleanor, and this is my January reading wrap-up. Yeah, I have actual physical books to show, although one of them I actually read in audio. I just also happen to have a physical. Anyway, so what did I read in January? I read 9 books in January, which is not quite at the 10 per month that's required to get to the overall goal, but it's close, and I read some pretty lengthy stuff. So for me anyway, yeah, there wasn't really anything short, apart from, well, you'll see. So what did I start the month with? I started the month with The Shots You Take by Rachel Reid. This is her newest one-shot hockey romance novel that was actually, I saw it listed on Amazon. I was like, I want to read this as my final book in 2025, and then I went, it doesn't come out until the 1st of January 2026, so I immediately downloaded it and read it on my way back to Canberra, essentially. So yeah. So in this one, this is not connected to her Game Changer series. It's a one shot, and it essentially involves retired players. So you've got 2 players who played with each other as young men in Toronto, and they won a cup together, and they shagged, but it was casual. Although one of them who admitted he was gay, although not publicly, but was aware of it in himself at least, was very attached. The other one, we find out, didn't really they were best friends, but his behaviour was not great. He was very deep in the closet, ended up getting married to a woman. There was a cheating episode. But now they're both retired, and our main character's father has just passed away. And as usual with Rachel Reid stuff, this also deals with a great deal of mental health stuff in hockey. But yeah, so the names are escaping me right now, but player A, his father has just passed away, and player B, the one that treated him badly, shows up to the funeral and just wants, he's worked on himself, he's now divorced, he's sort of out to people who know him, but not really to everybody. And he just wants to be there for his ex, essentially, and maybe get another chance, but at least get closure. And so it's a guy working through grief and dealing with the complicated feelings that his past catching up with him has to deal with. And yeah, it's really annoying me that I can't remember their names, but it was like a month ago that I read it. So, but yes, it's a very good book. I really enjoyed it. I might have got a bit teary at times. I might have laughed out loud at times. I really enjoy Rachel Reid's writing. So yeah, that was a great start to the year. Then I read The Royals of Longbourn by Marta Phillip, which is a Pride and Prejudice variation, as might sound, and a new author to me. Wasn't super keen on this one. Like, it was alright. It was a case of the Bennets as young people went to visit friends in, I think, France. Could be Spain. Actually, no, I think it might have been Spain. And there's a Spanish princess who's pregnant illegitimately, and the Bennets take in the child, which is Elizabeth, and they hide it for their entire life. And then once Elizabeth becomes an adult, things get complicated as an illegitimate Spanish princess. So yeah, it was okay. I didn't love this one in particular, but it was alright. And then we got to what I am counting as my second queer book of the month, because there are some minor characters who were definitely gay. Closeted, time period gay, but still definitely interested in the same sex. And that is Murder in the Cathedral by Kerry Greenwood. This is the very last Phryne Fisher murder mystery, because of course Kerry Greenwood passed away last year before it was published. So I'm very grateful we got at least one more posthumous book. But in this one, Phryne has been invited to Bendigo because her old friend Lionel is about to be made the bishop of the diocese there, the Anglican diocese. And what she wasn't expecting is for one of the deacons to be killed in the middle of the service. And then for the murderer to completely disappear. So, yes, Phryne has some investigating to do, unsurprisingly. Dot is, of course, along. She sends for Detective Inspector Mick Kelly from a neighbouring town who she's worked with before. And a certain copper pops up from Melbourne to see his lovely Dot. So, yeah, shenanigans ensue. I enjoyed it very much. But yes. Yeah, I'm really sad there's going to be no more Miss Fishers. I'm just going to have to reread them now. But that was read as well, so that's 3 books. Then, and this is one where I actually reread it via audio, and that is James Tiptree Jr., The Double Life of Alice B. Sheldon by Julie Phillips. This is one of the best biographies I've ever read, which is why I felt like I kind of probably needed time to reread it. So Tiptree is a fascinating character, Sheldon, whatever you want to call her. Science fiction author, had a really dramatic and eventful life, and an unfortunate end. Wrote some amazing short fiction, which I've read. I am currently reading the novels because I reread this and I went, maybe I should reread the short stories. And then I went, wait a minute, did I buy a copy of the novels? And yes, I've got the duology sitting on my TBR shelf, so I'm like, maybe it's time to read those. But this is a really, really brilliant biography. So I thoroughly recommend it. And the audiobook was pretty good too. So that was good. Then I read another Austen variation, this time by my old friend Shana Grandison. This was The Collins Effect. And so it's essentially various people make different decisions because of the effect the Collins family have on them. The negative effect the Collins family have. Meeting the Collinses, meeting Mr. Collins, makes people want to be contrary. So that changes the circumstances. It's also one where Mrs. Bennet has passed away, and so there is an open position for Mrs. Bennet, for the next Mrs. Bennet, which is one of the decisions that meeting Mr. Collins, reflects. So, yeah. What else? And then I finished issue 65 of Uncanny Magazine, edited by Michael Damien Thomas. Off the top of my head. Sorry, I've been reading a lot of Uncanny, and so remembering specific stories is difficult. I did write some down in this one, but I would have to check which ones that they were. But it was quite a good one. I remember quite enjoying issue 65. Sorry, I've just finished issue 64, so yes, I'm going backwards because I got sick of trying to catch up and I wanted to read some stuff from last year for possible Hugo nominations. So, but there was some interesting stories. So, yes. And then I finally finished Indigenous Women's Voices, 20 years on from Linda Tawai Smith's Decolonising Methodologies, edited by Tabraka Country and Emily and Jennifer Evans. So this is a collection of essays that my brother gave me for Christmas a few years ago that I then went and read Decolonising Methodologies very slowly over a couple of years so I could have some context. A lot of these are from people in or from Tasmania, which is interesting for me because that's where I'm from. So a lot of these issues were actually ones that sort of hit quite hard for me. They're personal essays rather than academic essays, or there's some academia in there. But yeah, it was really worth reading and gave me a lot to think about. and I'm probably going to let my dad borrow it at some stage because I think he will find it interesting too. So that was a good read, and was the first thing I finished that was BIPOC authors, editors, because everything in here is by Indigenous authors. Then I read another audiobook because I've hit the really busy period at work where I want something in my ears. So this was a bit disappointing based on the title and then what I actually got. So the book was The Secret Lives of Royal Women, Fascinating Biographies of Queens, Princesses, Duchesses and Other Royal Women by Marlene Wagman Geller. But there weren't a lot of secrets. Like, it wasn't anything new. They were all really short biographies about interesting women, and I give it credit. It wasn't just like European and British royalty. It actually did expand to some of Asia and the Middle East. So it, I can give it that much. But for something that presented itself as The Secret Lives of Royal Women, it was very surface level. And I also didn't love the actual narration either of the audiobook. I'm not sure what it was about the narrator's, the performer's voice, but something about, I don't know, the accent or the tone that she read it in, I found it very difficult to distinguish. I found it kind of flat and difficult to distinguish between chapters, and I kind of dozed off at times, to be honest. Lost where I was and had to go back and figure out who the hell they were talking about. So yeah, I didn't love this one. Not the best history book that I've listened to. And then the final thing that I read in January was Lagoon by Nnedi Okorafor. This has been on my TBR shelf for a while. You guys know I love Nnedi Okorafor. She's a Nigerian American author, and I love her work. This is one of her earlier novels, and I really enjoyed it. It's a mixture of science fiction and that it's an alien first contact. Nigerian mythology, particularly based around Lagos, because that pops into it as well. But there's also a lot of environmental themes, a lot of discussion of religion, and just human nature as everything goes mad at alien first contact. How do humans react to it? Yeah, it was a really good read, a really quick read. I'd started it, but then I read most of it in one afternoon on the last day of January. But yeah, really thoroughly enjoyed it and thoroughly recommend, as usual, anything by Nnedi Okorafor, but this was a really fun read. So that's good. So that was the 9 things I read. 2 by authors of colour, 2 with identifiable queer characters or storylines, and actually 3 physical books off my TBR. Well, one that was on my currently reading pile, one that was recently on my TBR, and one that had been on my TBR for a while. So that's a good sign for my goals for the year. Now I just keep up with it, which I'm not doing so well with so far. And February is a short month, and I'm really, really busy. But yes, so yeah, even though I was one short of the technical numbers goal for the year, for the month, I'm really pleased with what I read. I thoroughly enjoyed most of it. So yeah, I will see you all again really soon. Bye.